Good morning everyone. Today we are going to see the classes of immunoglobulin. There are different classes of immunoglobulin. The different classes of immunoglobulin was identified once after identification of a particular type of protein in the multiple myeloma patient. You know what you mean by multiple myeloma? Multiple myeloma is the cancer of the plasma cell. What happens when there is a cancer in plasma cell? More number of plasma cell, more number of antibody production, excess amount of antibody production will be there. When excess amount of antibody production is there, that will be excreted out through the urine of the multiple myeloma patient. Okay, so what exactly happens in the multiple myeloma is, this is the plasma cell. Plasma cell will have a larger nucleus and it will have endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is the place where the heavy and the light polypeptide chain synthesis happens. And you know the structure of the immunoglobulin. Immunoglobulin, it has two heavy chain polypeptide which is associated with two light chain. Heavy and light chain polypeptides will be synthesized separately in endoplasmic reticulum. Then the association happens with the help of disulfide bond, and there are different types of other non-covalent interactions are there. And once after the association, it leave the endoplasmic reticulum, enter into the Golgi for the post-translational modification, and antibody will be released out of the plasma cell. Okay, so 2000 antibodies will be released out per second from one plasma cell. This is how the antibody production happens. When there is excess amount of plasma cell and excess amount of antibodies, what happens? The association won't be happening properly. So because of that, the light and heavy and light polypeptide chains will be excreted out of the body through urine. Now, this was identified by a scientist, the presence of protein in the urine of multiple myeloma patient, that was identified by scientist Bence-Jones. Okay, this was identified by a scientist Bence-Jones. Thereby, the protein or the light and the heavy chain polypeptide which is there in the urine of the multiple myeloma patient, those proteins are known as the Bence-Jones protein. Presence or identification of the Bence-Jones protein. After identifying the protein, they have taken the protein and started doing the amino acid sequencing of those protein, and they identified that each polypeptide chain, it will be having different types of amino acid sequence. Depends on the amino acid sequences which are there in the antibody. They are classified into 5 different types. Like your nucleic acid sequencing, even amino acid sequencing method is there. So when they did the sequencing of the polypeptide chain of heavy and light chain, they found that there are different types of amino acid sequences, and because of the amino acid sequences, they have named the immunoglobulin as different classes. So the 5 different types of amino acid sequences were there for the heavy chain. Heavy chain, 5 different types of amino acid sequences. One is gamma, second one is alpha, third one is mu, fourth one is epsilon, and the fifth one is delta. Okay, these are the 5 different types of amino acid sequences which they could see in the Bence-Jones protein, which was excreted out through the urine of the multiple myeloma patient. Now, if whichever immunoglobulin has gamma amino acid sequences, they named those immunoglobulin as immunoglobulin G. If the amino acid sequence is alpha, then they named it as immunoglobulin A. Immunoglobulin M, it has mu amino acid sequences, and the immunoglobulin E, the amino acid sequence is known as epsilon, and in immunoglobulin D, the amino acid sequencing is delta. So the polypeptide chain with delta sequencing is immunoglobulin D, polypeptide with epsilon is immunoglobulin D, polypeptide with mu amino acid sequence is immunoglobulin M, and polypeptide with alpha amino acid sequencing is immunoglobulin A, and a polypeptide with gamma amino acid sequencing is the immunoglobulin G. This is how they started identifying the amino acid sequencing, and they classified the immunoglobulin into 5 different classes. And the light chain also has 2 different amino acid sequences. One is known as kappa, another one is known as the lambda. But the naming of the antibody, that is completely dependent on the heavy chain amino acid sequences. So in the light chain there are 2 amino acid sequences. One is kappa, another one is known as the lambda amino acid sequences. So this you have to write before writing the immunoglobulin classes. So sequencing of antibody became feasible with the discovery of multiple myeloma. What is multiple myeloma? Cancer of antibody producing plasma cell. Myeloma cells excretes excess amount of antibody, which is called as myeloma protein, or also it is called as Bence-Jones protein, which was identified by the scientist Bence-Jones. Okay, so they did the sequencing and they found that there are different types of amino acid sequencing, and in the case of heavy chain, five different classes are there: gamma, alpha, mu, epsilon and delta. In the case of light chain, two sequencing are there. One is kappa, another one is called as the lambda. So in humans, 60% of the light chains are kappa and 40% of light chains are lambda. In mice, 95% of light chain is kappa, whereas 5% is lambda. Okay, so when the myeloma protein, after getting the myeloma protein, they treated with mercaptan and then they did the sequencing and found 5 different types of amino acid sequences, and they named it as 5 different classes of immunoglobulin. Now that's all about the sequencing and the introductory part for classes of immunoglobulin. Now we'll start with the different types of immunoglobulin and the characteristic feature. The first immunoglobulin what we are going to discuss now is immunoglobulin G. Immunoglobulin G, that is the most abundant immunoglobulin which is there in the serum. Okay, so in next some classes we will be discussing about the primary and secondary immune response. You know what is primary and secondary immune response. Whenever your body encounter with an antigen for the first time, that immune response is known as the primary immune response. When you encounter with the same antigen, remember the same antigen for the second time, that immune response is known as the secondary immune response, which is very quick when compared to the primary. Primary, it will take 7 to 14 days, whereas secondary one, it will be happening within 3 to 4 days. So that is known as the secondary immune response. Immunoglobulin G is the antibody which is usually produced in the secondary immune response. So whenever your body encounter with the antigen for the second time, excess amount of immunoglobulin G will be synthesized, which will neutralize the antigen quickly. Clear? So therefore, this is the most abundant class of immunoglobulin. It constitutes about 80% of the total serum immunoglobulin. So whatever immunoglobulin is there in the serum, out of that 80% of the immunoglobulin will be immunoglobulin G. Okay, so in the competitive examination they may ask which is the most abundant immunoglobulin which is there in the human. Which is the most abundant one? Immunoglobulin G. Why it is known as immunoglobulin G? Because it has the amino acid sequencing gamma. Clear? So gamma amino acid sequencing is there in immunoglobulin G. That is why it is called as immunoglobulin G. It is written here, heavy chain amino acid sequencing is gamma. Here you have to write gamma amino acid sequencing. Amino acid sequence. Now, this immunoglobulin G, they are bactericidal. What do you mean by bactericidal? Something which can kill bacteria, that is called as bactericidal. Virucidal. What do you mean by virucidal? If bactericidal is something which can kill bacteria, what is virucidal? Virucidals are the compound which can kill the virus. How do they kill the bacteria? You know that in the complement pathway, we have discussed already about the antibody mediated complement pathway, wherein when an antigen enters into the body, antigens will be identified by the antibody. How these antibodies will be there, as I told you, this is the immunoglobulin which is produced during the secondary immune response. What is secondary immune response? Your body is encountering with the antigen for the second time. So excess amount of immunoglobulin G will be synthesized, and the bacteria, no need of undergoing processing. Usually primary immune response, what happens? Bacteria enters, it enters in the phagocytosis pathway, undergoes degradation, and then the activation happens and antibody production. Whereas second time when the bacteria or the virus, when it enters into the body, directly the antibodies will identify the bacteria. There is no need of processing and presentation, because already antibodies, your memory cells are there, which will differentiate into plasma and memory cell, which is there in the body, will identify, or which will get the signal. They differentiate into plasma cell and memory cell. Okay, this plasma cells will produce immunoglobulin G, which will bind with the antigens which are present on the bacteria, and they will kill the bacteria by activating the complement pathway. So whenever the antigen antibody complex is formed, complements will identify it, complements will bind to the Fc portion of the antibody, and it will activate the complement mediated cascade, and finally a membrane attack complex will be formed. Do you remember MAC? What is MAC? Membrane attack complex. So whenever the MAC complex or membrane attack complex is formed, this can activate the killing of the bacteria. So this you have studied, or I told you very clearly under complement pathway. Okay, so this is how they kill the bacteria. How do they kill the bacteria? By complement activation. How the complement activation happens? Since it is a secondary immune response, antibodies which are produced will identify the antigen which is present on the surface of the bacteria. Antigen antibody complex will be formed. Complements will bind to the antibody and they activate the complement cascade pathway. Thereby, a membrane attack complex will be formed. So, whenever the membrane attack complex is formed, the cellular components, the excess amount of ion transport will be there, the water content will be there, will be loss of water content, and thereby the bacteria will undergo death. Okay, that is known as the bactericidal activity of immunoglobulin G by activating the complement pathway. Second one is known as the virucidal. So as I told you already, virus is entering into your body for the second time. So what is there on the surface of virus? It has the glycoprotein. You know the COVID-19 virus structure and HIV virus structure. You must have seen somewhere recently. COVID-19 structure you must have seen every newspaper and TV. They are showing this COVID-19 structure. So you know that it has the glycoprotein. So whenever this virus enters into the body, your second time, this is the your secondary immune response. The memory cells will identify it. It produces immunoglobulin G, and immunoglobulin G will bind to the viral glycoprotein. Now, no need of viral genome integration and all those processes. You remember endogenous antigen processing pathway. Usually, whenever virus infection is there, the genome will be released out. The genome will integrate with the host genome, viral protein synthesis, and then protein degradation by proteasome complex, presentation, and then identification, activation. All those processes will happen. All those things will not be happening in the secondary immune response because you have the memory cell. Antibody production will be there. Antibodies will bind with the glycoproteins which are present on the surface of the virus. And now this process is called as the neutralization. When antigen is bound with the antibody, antigen becomes neutralization. And once the neutralization is activated, your phagocytic cells are there. They can identify the antigen antibody complex. They gulp it, they engulf it, and do the lysis. Clear? That is how viruses will be eliminated during the secondary immune response. So having a very good immune system is very, very important. So if you have a primary contact with an antigen, second time you need not worry because your memory cells will get activated and immediately whichever bacteria or the virus enters into the body, they'll be eliminated from the system. And third and the most important function of this immunoglobulin G is, this is the only immunoglobulin. This I told you already, I think in under adaptive immune response. Immunoglobulin G is the only immunoglobulin that can cross the placenta. Why it has to cross the placenta? Because I told you already, the fetus immune system will not be developed properly. Immune system will develop after the birth within after 6 months of time period. So till that time period, the newborn baby or the developing fetus will be getting immunity through mother. So if it is in the fetal stage, our developing embryo will get the fetus will get the immunity from the immunoglobulin G which is there in the which will be passing through the placenta. Second one is the immunoglobulin A. After birth till 6 months of time period, baby will get immunity through another antibody that is immunoglobulin A which is there in the mother's milk. Okay, now we are going to talk about the immunoglobulin G which crosses the placenta and give immunity to the developing fetus. How do they cross the placenta? So usually a blood barriers will be there and only the nutrients or the blood can transport. They will not allow some of the proteins to pass through the blood. But here the immunoglobulin G will be, other immunoglobulins cannot pass through, only immunoglobulin G will be passing through the placenta. How do they pass? That process of movement of the immunoglobulin G from mother circulation to the fetal circulation or through the placenta it enter into the fetal circulation. That process is known as the transcytosis. What is the process? It is called as the transcytosis, wherein the important factor or important region which plays a major role here is known as the syncytiotropoblast. Syncytiotropoblast is the epithelial cover. I have written here epithelial cover of the vascular placental villi, which will help in the nutrient supply between the mother and the fetus. So it is the syncytiotropoblast. You remember that is a epithelial layer which is there between the mother and the fetus. So there is a there is a barrier will be there between the mother circulation and the fetal circulation. There you can see a epithelial cell. That epithelial cell or epithelial layer is called as the syncytial trophoblast. Those epithelial cells, for your understanding, I'll make it like this. These are the epithelial cells. These epithelial cells will have a receptor. What is that receptor called as? FcRn. FcRn stands for Fc receptor of the newborn. What is the name of the receptor? Fc. Yesterday's class, if you remember, I told you that antibody. This portion is known as the FAB. FAB stands for fragment antigen binding. This portion, the stem portion of the antibody is known as the Fc. What is Fc? Fragment crystallizable. FcRn. FcRn stands for receptor for Fc receptor. N stands for newborn. So FcRn is an Fc receptor of the newborn, which is there in the syncytial trophoblast epithelial cell. They will bind to the immunoglobulin G, which is there in the maternal blood. So this is the maternal blood circulation. The antibody immunoglobulin G, remember that will bind to the FcRn receptor, and once it binds there through receptor mediated endocytosis, you remember in first semester you would have studied. So whenever receptor bind with the antibody, so this is the receptor, antibody will bind there, then the membrane will pinch off and it forms a vesicle. Through vesicle, this FcRn and the antibody will move through the placenta and enter into the circulation. When it reaches to the end of the placenta, the vesicle will be released out, or the antibody will be released out from the receptor and the vesicle. Vesicle will come back, return back for the that process is known as the receptor recycling. So you just go through that receptor mediated endocytosis, you will understand. So receptor FcRn binds with the antibody, vesicle formation will be there, and through vesicle it moves through the placenta and antibody will be released out. Receptor goes back for the repeated functioning. Okay, so thereby the developing fetus will get the antibody, and this is known as the passive acquired immunity. Remember, there are two types, active and the passive. This is passive acquired immunity because this antibody will be there, or that will give immunity to the developing fetus for a short time period. Thereby it is known as the passive immunity. Okay, so that's all about the functions of immunoglobulin G. There are 4 different classes of immunoglobulin G: immunoglobulin G1, G2, G3 and G4. G1, G3 and G4 can cross the placenta. 4 different types are there: G1, G2, G3 and G4. G1, G3 and G4 can cross the placenta, whereas G2 it cannot, because it cannot bind with the FcRn receptor. Okay, so now one more important point to remember is the half-life. Half-life, or the life of the immunoglobulin G is 18 to 23 days. Now, a quick recap. What are the points you need to remember under immunoglobulin G? Structure, yesterday only I taught you. So the same structure you can draw here. Very simple diagram you can make. And it has the structure. What is the speciality? 2 polypeptide chains, heavy and light. 2 heavy and 2 light. They are linked together by the disulfide bond, and it has a hinge region. That's a very important point to remember. Immunoglobulin G, it has a hinge region. How many constant region domains are there? CH1, CH2 and CH3. And 1 variable region for heavy chain BH, whereas in the case of light chain it is BL. In the case of light chain, there is only 1 constant region which is named as CL. So this is the most abundant class of immunoglobulin, constitute about 80% of the total serum immunoglobulin. Heavy chain sequencing is gamma, that is why it is named as immunoglobulin G. And bactericidal, virucidal, I explained it already, and it can cross the placenta. That process is known as the transcytosis. Okay, so that's all about the functions of immunoglobulin G. I will be continuing with the immunoglobulin A and other types of immunoglobulins.